And I will bow in. Evening, Andrew.
Hello.
So we're going to start with the centering exercise as always. This is what I'm going to guide you on. So you can stand, sit, go into Seiza, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Just make sure that whatever place you choose to go, that you maintain a good stance in it. I'm going to guide you through this, so you can just shut your eyes if you like. And I'm going to ask you to recall a time where you just felt incredibly prepared for a big event. So it might be a downgrading or a party with friends or a business meeting or some sporting event that you had trained long and hard for. Just something where you had put the hours in and you were ready to go. There was a huge sense of purpose and anticipation and excitement, but calm excitement. You just knew that when the time came, you would deliver. And I just want you to focus on how you felt energetically in that moment. And as you recall that, scan through your body and just notice what's going on. Go from your forehead to your face muscles around your eyes, to your chin and your neck and your shoulders. Down through your torso, to your backside, your stomach, down through your legs, all the way to your feet. Notice your connection with the ground. Notice perhaps what's going on with your breathing. And hopefully, as you kind of recapture that moment, you can return to the session with a sense of real purpose and energy, and in a place where you know you're bringing all your resources to solve any problem that comes your way. In your own time, come on back to the room, so to speak. And if any of you care to give me some feedback on what you felt and how you feel now, that's always useful.
Nice and relaxed.
Good. That's what we're looking for. Hopefully feeling positive too. So it's not a neutral feeling. It's one of slight excitement and anticipation.
I would say, Quentin, I would say I've got some, I felt some tension in my face muscles, I would say.
Okay, right. All right, well, that's, when you notice the tension, let it go. Yeah, whenever you're scanning your body like that and you notice tension, take some time, focus on that place and let the tension go, because you want to be completely relaxed. The best sportsman, it's positive relaxation all the way. There's no tension in their body, and that's why they're able to move as they do move. Anything else before we move on?
I felt like spring loaded in my abdomen.
Yep.
Ready to explode, kind of.
Yes, good. That's what I was hoping for. Right, okay, so we're going to look at the key development exercises. Now, when we started a class in Ki Aikido, we either started with key for health exercises, they were described, which we kind of, the warm-up exercises we looked at, some of which we looked at last week. And then there was the key development exercises. And many of those will be very familiar to you. Ikkyo Ando, Funakogi Ando, movements like that. And to be honest, you know, they were called key development exercises, but I never stopped to question, well, why are these key development exercises? In what way are these developing key? And it's actually kind of only recently that I've bothered to think about that. And I think the answer is that all of these exercises really encouraging you to look beyond yourself. So if you think about Ikkyo Ando, it's more than just the tips of your fingers. You should be thinking of a partner in front of you. It's that kind of exercise. So they're encouraging you to extend your mind beyond your body. And that, at the end of the day, is one way of describing what key is. Okay, so we're going to go. We will start with Ikkyo Ando, but we're going to do it slowly and purposefully for the moment. I'll go sideways on. So without doing anything with my arms, I hopefully maintain a fairly straight back, and I rock from a position just over the front of my big toe and back. And forward and back. And my back and upper half of the body don't really move at all. They're just being carried by the lower half of the body. So if I go too far, then I get a lean in my back. If I don't bother to send my shoulders forward, I get a lean in my back. This is what I mean about traveling and traveling just the right distance. So just play with that a little bit and noticing how far you can go forward without any bend in your back and where you end up when you go backwards. And also notice the grounded feeling under your feet. If when you look at them, you see your toes curling up, you've gone too far. Okay, you should stay grounded throughout this movement. Okay, so that's the body movement. The arm movement is just effectively just raising your arms up and dropping them down. So I'm not going to do any body movement. I'll try not to. Up, down. So I don't add anything to this. If you pick my finger up and just lifted it, it would be the same shape. So I'm not bending my arm at all. All my focus is outwards. So now we put the two together. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So we've now got the body movement sorted. The third element is to think of what you're doing with your head. So I can switch off and think about the shopping I did today or what I did in the office. Or, oh, there's a nice sky up there. Or I can think very purposefully in front of me. I can imagine that there's a partner there that I want to connect with. Or I can imagine throwing a bucket of water over them because I like that. I'm childish and I like to throw water over people. 1, 2. So imagine that you're throwing something forward. In this case, energy, but it can be water in your head. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we do that, we swap feet, and the right foot comes forward, and we reproduce. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So as you do this, you should perhaps notice that you're building up heat in your body. That's the energy starting to flow. If you're not doing this with purpose, you won't have that feeling. I can feel my face beginning to flush. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Swap your feet again. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Swap again. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so as you're doing these movements, they need to be very crisp movements. So you should have a start and you should have a finish And it doesn't want to be like you're throwing wet spaghetti, if that kind of picture works for you. It's a bolt of lightning forward you're sending, so you have to give it purpose. 1, that's the end. 2 is coming back, that's the end. When you finish, your hand should end up by your side and slightly in front. If it goes like that, you've gone too far. And as I drop, all of my mind goes to the floor. And a good discipline is, as you go down, is to just curl your fingers up and leave one finger out, so that all your energy can be expressed down through that one finger. That's a new element for you, so think about that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, you're starting to look like you're being serious about this. That's good. 1, 2, 1, 2. Swap feet. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Make sure when you finish, your hands are not up here. Okay? I can feel strain in my shoulders now, and if someone were to push me from here, it would be hard to stop. It's going to be, this hand is just above my shoulder level. My elbow is just below my shoulder level. That's about where you want it. If you were going into Rikyo Undo, yes, you would continue the arc upwards as your partner lifted to strike you. But we're doing Rikyo as an exercise here. Rikyo Undo. Okay, so let me just come back to you. And I just ask for a little bit of feedback from you as to what you felt. Did you feel heat generated? Did you feel purposeful? How's it going for you?
Yes,
I felt.
Joe first.
Yeah. What I felt is kind of when I started to raise my arms, I tend to go with my upper body a little more. Okay. But immediately I'm trying to keep my axis. So just don't go too much because the impulse of the arm is very strong.
Okay, so there is, if we're looking at the sequence of movement, it's arms, legs, legs, arms. So in other words, the arms start to lead the movement and then your hips follow. And on the way back, your legs lead the movement and your arms follow. So we can break it down like that, and we will in a second, because that might help you make sure that you don't feel yourself overbalancing. Anybody else? Andrew, you were going to say something.
I was pushing from my center forward.
Yes, well, I think that's perfect. Everything is generated from your center. I mean, this movement backwards and forwards is really key to this. So keeping your center, making sure that your alignment is good, and the energy is coming up through you and out your arms. That's a good picture to have in your head. You know, I tend to just focus on my extending out of my arms rather than linking it to my center. But it's probably better if I drew it up through my center and out my arms. Anyone else? Okay.
Yes. My shoulders relax and my hips tend to move just a little first, then the arms. But I'm going to the extent of my key cut without detaching from the mat.
Yeah, well, that's really good, John. I mean, I would say you're going just a bit too far, because I can see a little bit of your back going in this direction. And I think if I were to grab your fingertips, you might not be as stable as if you step back a bit. Put a bit more weight on your back foot and come back a little bit. Yeah, that's, I mean, I want the range of movement actually to be quite small. So if you look at me, and I hope I'm doing this right, so it's up to you to tell me if I'm doing it wrong, but I keep a very straight back. My range of movement is not as much as yours. I don't come out to here. I feel pretty grounded, but I don't feel as stable in my upper body now. Here I'm good. You can take me and you can test me, and I'm going to feel very solid. You can push, you can pull. I'm going to be fine with that. So it's just worth exploring that a little bit and asking yourself what feels most comfortable and most stable. And only you guys can answer that question, because we all have different bodies and all have different range. But I think there are certain fundamentals that are important, and one of them is to keep aligned, head, neck, body, always above the hips. So you will rarely see me, except when I'm doing it badly, making these sorts of movements, or this sort of movement. My aikido tends to be in this range. It should look like I'm walking, really, in terms of how my upper body behaves. Anyone else got anything to report back? And then we're just going to quickly just slow the sequence down. So we do the arms, legs, legs, arms, bit. Okay. So if there's a fraction of a second between the arms going and the body going. So it's 1. And now a fraction of a second before my legs go back and the arms follow. 1. Let them fall. Let's practice that down feeling we had last week. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. Okay, so we'll introduce one more movement now, which is to turn 2, and we swivel 3, 4. So this is the movement you're looking for. Can you see my feet? Not quite. Just adjust the camera a little bit. I think you've got them now. So as I turn, my hips go towards the back foot. I pick the back foot up, I turn it, and I then turn that one. In reverse, 1, 2. So my front foot is pointing out towards the front, and my back foot is slightly oblique, but essentially sideways. The front foot I turn, so it's now horizontal. The back foot I turn, it's now forward. Both of them are slightly oblique. It's not 90 degrees, it's just off. It's there, maybe there. And on the sideways, well, I can't show you. It's the same angle on your back foot, but out towards the side. So don't just twist. For control, pick your foot up. And after a while, you can do this very quickly. And in the end, you probably do twist on the ball of your foot. But get in the habit for now of picking your foot up just a tiny bit, so that the friction doesn't get in the way of the nice, stable, aligned movement. Is everybody happy with that movement?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
I'll take that as a yes. So now, to the count of 4, we're going to introduce that. So 1, 2, turn. 3, 4, turn. 1, 2, turn. 3, 4, turn. 1, 2, turn. 3, 4. So as you get into this, become more and more purposeful in the way you're doing it. But just because you're putting purpose in it, don't let it change the shape of your body. Just because you get excited, don't stop doing the good stuff. Your body knows how to be centered, let it be. Let your mind be centered as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's important that you give it everything when you're going the first direction. And then when that stops, you turn and then you give it everything going in the other direction. You're not thinking about the going in the other direction till you get to that point in the exercise. Your mind is only on one thing at a time and the direction that you're facing.
Quentin, you go it's first the arms, then the hips,
Yes.
and the hips back and the arms goes down.
Yes. Obviously, when you get comfortable with this, Joe, there won't be so much separation. So it's not just, so arms, then hips. It's almost opposite. It just, it follows on very quickly, but there's just a slight separation. But it's good to break it down until you get the sequence in your head, and then you can speed it up as you get more comfortable with it. Make sense?
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So how about if we go 4 ways now? Okay, so we've got front and back, and we've got 2 sides. And I'm practicing on a mat, so I've got the lines of the mat to guide me. So 1, 2, I turn, 3, 4. I let my back foot go in the next direction. It's pointing where I want to go. 1, 2, turn, 3, 4. Okay, did anyone struggle with that? So you're making a cross, you're doing the verticals and then you're doing the horizontals. Yeah.
Can I see one more time? Please?
Yes. Okay. So you're going to face me and you're going to be sending me lots of key or intent or water, whatever works for you. Okay. So 1, 2, we turn. 3, 4. Pause. Where's your back foot pointing? It's giving you the direction of the next step. 1, 2, turn around. 3, 4. Everybody happy? Okay, so let's build this up. Let's build a little bit of speed into it. Try to maintain the control that you've got when you're doing it very slowly. And once you've mastered that, more intent into the movement. You've got someone with a sword standing in front of you, and you have to deflect it. Okay, so we'll start with the left foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back to the front. A little bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once more. Quicker still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now right foot forward. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice you're pointing at the other side wall this time. 7, 8. And back to the front. Right foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And back to the front. And we go a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And back to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back to the front. Even quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Still with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, so now we go 8 ways. So we've done the verticals, we've done the horizontals, and now we're going to do the diagonals. Okay, left foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice where your back foot is. 5, 6, 7, 8. Back foot points to the corner you're going to step towards. 9, 10, 11, 12. Back foot points to the corner I need to go in. 13, 14, 15, 16. So has everyone got the principle? So if you've noticed there's a pattern going on it's kind of step, turn, step, turn, step, turn, step, turn. Except on the first one, you don't step because you're already there. 1, 2, 3, 4. First step. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How did you all do?
Okay.
Anyone struggle? I take it was all good then.
Yes.
In the end, my shoulders. I just forgot I was focused on the foot and then too much strength on the shoulders and arms.
Okay, well, it's really good that you're noticing, because if you notice it, you can fix it in your own time. Okay, so we're going to build up some speed here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How did you do, gang? Okay, so the point is, here we have a really basic exercise with some simple movements in, but you can layer it and you can make it more and more involved and more difficult to get all the little bits right. So, you know, this is something you can work on in your own time. You can always recommend that you start really slow and just see what your body's doing. Remembering, I want to stay grounded. I want to stay aligned. I want to really be extending good ki, if I may use that word. You can use intention, you can use focus, you can just create pictures in your head. You don't have to call it ki at all if you don't want to, but just be purposeful in the exercise. Don't be just wandering, throwing your arms around like a wet spaghetti. Patrick, do you have a question?
Yeah. How are you doing the breath sequence? You're in and out breathing.
Good question, because I don't think about it, but it is one of those things that you should take a look at. So I'm probably breathing out on this zone. I'm breathing in on this one. So if you want to sync your breath, whenever you're extending ki outwards, you breathe out. Whenever you're drawing back to yourself and regathering, if you like, you breathe in. That's what I would recommend, Patrick. Okay. Okay. When if you want to sort of see how powerful this is, you need somebody else to be able to work with to really feel this. If you get someone into an ikkyo hold where you would take them down to the ground, so your arms are in front of your body, try holding your breath and pushing. You'll notice that your partner, if you ask them not to fall down for you, will just stand there. It's like, what are you doing? Okay, then just let go and go, ah, and you'll notice they collapse to the ground. Any other questions or observations? Oh, good. Go on, Andrew.
It's an observation. I hope this doesn't complicate things too much.
I hope so.
I always think of this as a two-way exercise. So I don't want all my energy to be going in one direction. I want to be thinking at the same time, as I'm extending forwards, I'm also extending downwards.
Yeah. Do you know what I think, Andrew, that ideally you kind of want like this sphere of energy coming from you. So you might be concentrating a little bit more on what's in front of you than what's behind you on this exercise. But ideally, if you're extending ki, it's going in all directions. And I want you to have that grounded feeling, unless, of course, you want to move, in which case you need to have a slightly lighter feeling, I think.
Yeah.
It's something else I've been thinking about. So I had a student who kept going on about having soft knees. I don't know what he's talking about. And then, because I don't really stand with soft knees, I tend to sort of lock my legs out most of the time. But then I noticed that if I just sort of let go of it, you get this kind of soft knee feeling. And if I do that, I feel incredibly grounded. So if I'm looking to absorb some energy, this sort of soft knee stance, just sinking down a bit, is really, really useful. But if I want to move, if I want to move forward, I don't want soft knees, I feel like an ache. Then I need to lock my knees out a bit, and I need this lighter posture. Okay, we're going to do a Sayanda, which is a sideways exercise, which is one that students normally struggle with. It's really, really simple, but they still struggle with it. So just imagine you've got a metronome in front of your body, and I want you to start swinging your arms. And I don't want you to move your hips at all. I want your feet to be grounded. I just want you to be concentrating on your arms going from side to side. So make sure your legs are kind of locked out and you're just enjoying the flow of this movement. Okay, so we're going to take it a bit further and we're going to second. Then we're going to go the other way and we second. If I do this sideways on, 1, 2. If I've done this well for you, this hand is slightly in front of my shoulder. I've got plenty of weight over that knee, but I'm not so far this way that this foot needs to come off the ground. We've got plenty of connection where I can still root through that. This one probably went just a little bit too far. I want that one kind of ideally just below my 1 point. Sending energy out from these fingers that way. Okay. And imagine you've got someone next to you. If you want them to go to the ground, if you push with your arm at this point, they will not go. Not unless they're feeling very obliging for you. This is where you have to drop your center and be thinking down. So I'm connected to my partner. They should be kind of riveted to my side here. This is right across their chest. I feel really solid connection, and we're going down. So this person is the one that's actually going to reach the floor. You don't want any twist in your body. So as you're going, your arms going this way, don't look that way. I'm looking at the camera now. Okay, and I've turned my hips. I should be looking dead in front of you. So whatever's going on here, I'm looking in front. So my picture for this is I imagine like I'm steering a ship, okay? And the waves are buffeting the ship from side to side. So I need to shift my weight from one leg to the other leg. But I've got my hands on the wheel and I'm looking dead forward in the direction that the boat's going. That's kind of what I picture in my head. And there's always a return to center. So you go this way and you're slightly out of, you're traveling to the left. You return to center, total alignment, and then you go to the right. Yep, so there's a kind of metronome version of this. Okay. So remember, the legs, you're just the jolly sailor, going from side to side. You're just bending that knee. Again, my left knee now is just about over my big toe. Any further than that, I start to lose connection with this leg. I know I will be pushed over very easily. So I'm just getting this feeling of rocking comfortably from side to side. If I think about what my hips are doing, they're staying pretty much on the level. But the last, as I'm sinking my knee down, that side drops a little bit. Okay, so then as this is another arms and then body. Arms, body. Body brings you back to center. Arms go across. Body follows. Body brings you back to center. Arms. Body takes you there. Back to center with the body. And across. So remember, head locked on the front of the screen. Yeah, so let's do this so that I face onto you, your face onto me. You should be looking at me the whole time as I'm trying to look at you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice the shape of my arm is the totally natural shape that I have when it hangs by my side. My hand is slightly in front of my elbow, which is slightly in front of my shoulder. When I come up to the side, it's the same shape. My hand is in front of my shoulder, the elbow is slightly lower. I don't have any bend, there's nothing going on here. It's just the same shape. The only thing that changes is that I open my wrist. So my palm is to the sky. So my palm is by my side, and as I come up, I open it to the sky. Okay. So arms, you turn the wrist, they should be facing the sky. As you drop down again, you turn them, they come into you. And then they turn again as you go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Patrick, as I'm noticing that the counting kind of is my breathing out. You know, so I'm not paying attention to it, but that counting is helping me breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we want to layer it, now we introduce some movement. So to start with, we're going to have the back level travel behind the front leg. Yeah, it travels behind the leg, and then the right leg follows. And then back to center, left leg goes behind right leg, out that side. Back to center, right leg behind leg, back to center, left leg behind right, back to center, and so forth. And now we introduce our arms. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now you're going to put your front leg, the right leg, in front of your left leg. It's just a bit of variety. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had always put the leg behind, and then I was practicing with a teacher who was an Ushideshi for Osensi, and he said, "Oh no, it's you put it in front." I've never seen any other teacher say that, and I still prefer to do it behind. But this is where you experiment with your bodies, and maybe within the particular situation to determine what feels comfortable to you. So again, you've got an exercise there. I don't know about you guys, but I notice I'm breathing a little bit more deeply now, and I'm certainly glowing. So maybe you guys are too. So, I mean, it does generate some heat. So if you want to just think of energy as heat, you're doing something, and that's good. What are your observations, thoughts, feedback? Finn, go on, you've always got something to say. Be fast. I can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can now, yes.
Yeah. And something about the energy. So I'm feeling all energized and alert and prepared. But that thing about energy can't be created or destroyed. So that energy is probably being gathered from where it's been lingering and it's been being focused. So that
you can't create something from nothing, can you? So it was there somewhere. Yeah. Anything else?
I've never done the foot in front either. Never done that.
Right.
Always done the foot behind.
It's. I think just from the point of view of, oh my God, I'm not allowed to follow my own pattern as usual, and you're forced to think about it. Then it's a good thing for that, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But when you've got a partner on the other end, you can try and see which one you think is more effective. Personally, for me, it's the foot behind. But you know, hey. Anything else?
Those various directions that we do, 4 squares and then 4 corners, you can build it up to 16 and 32. And the term for that is various directions, is Zengo Undo.
Yes. Yes, it is. And I do think that's it's a fantastic example of, it's kind of like a spinning plates exercise. You know, you can't be spinning all the plates at once. So you focus on one thing, then you focus on another thing, and then another thing. And the quicker you can get between 1 and 2, but give everything to 1 and everything to 2, that's the skill you're building up in that exercise. So you should start from a sort of mindful position where you're noticing all the bits that are going into this and trying to get to the place where it feels comfortable when you're doing it at 1 mile an hour. And then when it feels comfortable at 1 mile an hour, you've got to try and do it at 2 miles an hour and still feel comfortable, and so on and so on and so on. And you can focus on the grounding, you can focus on the extension, you could focus on your centering, you can focus on your breathing, which is obviously something that you were looking at, Patrick. Doesn't matter, you know, it's noticing the small stuff and seeing which is the most effective. And just you'll get most of the answers just by practicing this on your own. Some of it is really helpful to have a partner there to see the impact of doing it the way that you're doing it, as opposed to the way that maybe you did do it. Okay, so final questions, because otherwise we're just about there for tonight.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Good. All right. Well, I'm going to finish with I'll finish with an O Sensei quote because it seems appropriate, and I kind of like doing it last week. And this to me is kind of where I'm at in my journey. Ultimately, you must forget about technique. The further you progress, the fewer teachings there are. The great path is really no path. I kind of like that. I always teach principle. I don't teach, well, I do teach technique, but through principle. And so I would suggest that as you're doing these exercises, you concentrate on a principle, like centering, like extending, like grounding, like just relaxation. Can you notice any tension in your body as you're doing the exercise? Pick one of them, and then take an exercise and practice that exercise with that principle in mind. And that principle will teach you whether you're doing it right or wrong. Okay, so thank you once again for showing up. It really is much appreciated. I like getting up in my gi. It's been such a long time since I have done it. And great to see you, Caitlin, in particular. She comes to my own club. Yay! How about that? Miracles. So you know we have a Thursday session. If you want to come to that, then it's the same details. It starts at 7 o'clock. We've got a great American teacher who's an artist, a sculptor, a writer, and she's now got a brain tumor, and Aikido's teaching her how to sort of get on with that too. So I think it'll be a pretty inspirational session, to say the least. All right. So
all right. Thank you, Quentin.
I will wish you bye.
Thank you very much, Quentin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Quentin.